The Government motion is right to highlight that legislation alone will not eradicate cultural attitudes which can drive this behaviour. The introduction of new laws can only be part of the work to break down the acceptance of misogyny and send a clear message about what is and what is not acceptable. The spectrum of misogynistic behaviour is wide, from low-level comments and jokes through to violence and abuse of women, but there is no question that it is also widespread. Too many men are guilty of such behaviour. The Kennedy report makes that very clear. We need to see much more and much wider action to change attitudes and male behaviour, including the tolerance of misogyny. It is not difficult for any of us to find examples and attitudes that need to be tackled. We see examples of inequality and sexism in all parts of our society. Some are more obvious than others, but all are damaging. In 2016, I spoke during a members' debate on the Standing Safe campaign. That was a West of Scotland University initiative addressing sexual violence on university campuses. Research at the time suggested a third of female students had experienced sexual assault or harassment as a student. I spoke then about the role of universities and colleges they have in tackling a culture of sexism and ensuring a safe environment for students. And that, unfortunately, continues to be the case today, because we have to ask ourselves how much has changed. More recently, we have seen students expelled and staff forced to quit following a series of sexual misconduct cases at St Andrews University, with many more required to attend workshops on diversity and consent. And last month, I spoke in the debate on women and girls in science on barriers to female progression in STEM education and employment. Barriers like exclusionary behaviour, bullying and harassment, cultural challenges of male-dominated departments and industries. These barriers will not be addressed by encouraging more women and girls to study subjects, but by changing that culture and stopping that harassment. In the Economy and Fair Work Committee, which I convene, we have heard consistently about the lack of support for women in business, and too often see a lack of awareness from businesses who don't feel the need to collect gender data. The recent report on women in enterprise highlights unjustifiable inequality, calling it a denial of opportunity on literally an industrial scale. More broadly, women's role in the economy has been neglected for far too long, and this is underpinned by the misogyny within our culture. We live in a society which continues to be characterised by inequality and sexism. And while some of these cultural attitudes may be centuries old, we continue to see these attitudes and behaviours expressed in new ways, including the use of online spaces, which not only allow misogynistic behaviours, but in some instances are used to encourage it. Technological developments have provided both new opportunities and new means for perpetrators to contact and to harm women, often anonymously. Women are targets for online abuse just as a result of being present. And those who are not targeted themselves can see that abuse, every time that they go online, being directed at other women, being normalised.